just been remarkable is when I left the air on Friday, it was almost a foregone conclusion that Kyiv would fall. It hasn't. And the world has been energized by all of this. Now, I don't know what exactly we can believe and not believe. I don't know of all the stories. Some of the stories have been rumored to be fake and false. Some, you see the video and it's clear. Some of the stories tend to be exaggerated, but we don't really know any of that. Propaganda in the sort of the fog of war. But it's still miraculous that in this day and age, with the size of Putin's military resources, that Ukraine is still fighting and still ducking and swinging and trying to save their homeland. Or their adopted homeland, however you want to see it. I mean, however you want to spin it. But it's pretty remarkable so far what's happened. Because I figured, most folks I think figured, that it would be literally like a steamroller. They'd come right in and just demolish everything and be on their way. But the Ukrainians have fought back with incredible ferocity. And, you are watching some of the amazing video footage feeds, again, whether it's on television or on the internet, rows and rows of tanks, trucks, cargo planes, helicopters, all being destroyed. Now, again, how much of it is 100% accurate? I don't know. I'm making the assumption that a lot of that stuff is right on the money. I mean, according to the Kiev Independent, which again, I'm sure there's propaganda here, but according to that, as of yesterday, 4,300 troops in Russia killed. 4,300. 27 planes, 26 helicopters, 146 tanks, 49 artillery pieces, 706 armored personnel carriers, 1 BUK system, 4 Grad systems, 30 cars, 60 fuel tanks, 2 drones, 2 ships, patrol boats. It seems impossible to me that those numbers are real. This is coming from them, not from Russia. But it seems like that would be, I already said the word miraculous, but I'll use it again, miraculous. But the world is stepping up. And I hate to say it, even though he's, falling asleep in his house, I think, in Pennsylvania, where the hell he is, in Delaware, Biden. And I'm sure these ideas aren't his. The sanctions appear to be actually hurting Russia as of right now. And it's only been a couple of days. It's causing them to sort of be in that state of desperation. Folks in Russia can't get money, can't move money, can't, if you had money in the bank yesterday, you may not have it in there today. So it's an interesting development, certainly, in this whole chess match that's going on. And they're meeting today. And what to make of this. See, I don't know what to make of these talks. Like, you sit down with somebody who's clearly the aggressor, and how are you going to sort of come to an agreement on a ceasefire? Of what is Ukraine going to have to give Russia in order for them to stop? I'm interested to see what comes of this. But there were rumors that Kiev was surrounded. Kiev. I mean, everybody's saying it a different way, so I'm saying Kiev. But now apparently there's clearly a route in and out. Food's getting in and out, and then I guess Russia has announced that they'll let anybody leave now if they'd like, which makes me think that either they're going to begin monstrous shelling here pretty soon if the talks don't go in the right direction. Because I keep feeling, maybe I'm wrong, again, I'll ask some of the quote-unquote experts today, but I almost feel like Russia hasn't turned up the volume completely on this. right? I feel as though they're not putting all of their resources behind this. And you've got clearly now, and this was one of the things that I had been talking about for the past week, you've got unstable leaders. Unstable leaders can cause catastrophes in desperation. Now, Putin clearly, according to reports, is not acting like he normally acts. And there was a rumor, I heard this yesterday, that he may have Parkinson's. Now, I don't know what that has to do with anything else. But as I've said to you before, men who consider themselves great men of history, when they see their mortality, they want a legacy. I still think that there's there's that in everybody. And is that something that does he want that legacy at all costs? He's got his nuclear arsenal on high alert. I always go back to it. It's only going to take one of those things to fall before it turns into a mess, and a global mess. But it's remarkable. The world is uniting behind the Ukrainians. There's some folks out there who are still championing, wanting to make Putin out to be some kind of a hero, which is remarkable to me. But I'm gonna get deeper into this thing before we figure out exactly who all the bad actors are. I'm sure there's more than just one. But I came on today. I didn't know how else to start the show today except to say basically that it's pretty amazing that we all sort of thought it was going to go one way, and it hasn't gone that way. And Putin's army and his military has really been stuck in a quagmire, has been, bouncing around. And it's been ugly for them. It's been ugly. So anyway, we have a busy show. We're going to actually talk in a couple minutes to, I hope I say his last name right, Alex Salarius, who is 10-year-old, who is fighting against these mask mandates, and we'll just chat with him. He was featured in a news story just the other day, so he's getting up early, going to call us before school. Senator Heather Summers, Senator Paul Formica, Ben Proto's on the schedule, and Stephen Bucci's on the schedule. Plenty of time in the 9 o'clock hour for phone calls today. We did that. So y'all can, get some of this stuff off of your chest. Yeah, like you, I'm watching it as best I can, getting all the information as I can. But, as soon as you get a piece of information that says one thing, there's another news outlet that's giving you, the story from either different direction, or saying that it's half true, not true. The story of the ghost pilot who downed, 7 aircraft by the time he got shot. Supposedly now he got shot down. That story now has question marks around it. Even the story about the Snake Island guys, there's some questions surrounding that now as well. So I don't know, I don't know. But it's war in real time, and we're watching it happen every night on the nightly news, and people are trying to dissect it and break it down and trying to deliver it to your living room, free of charge, except for the sponsors. I try to figure out. I like to try to figure out what I would do if I was in the Ukrainian president's mind, if that was me and that was him. What would I do? How would I combat this? Ukraine showed, if any of this is true, that they have puncher power. If it were a fight, there'd be a tough knockout for sure. What do you do? I mean, do you have any equipment that can actually reach the inside of Russia? Would you, try to fight back by taking the fight to them to a certain extent, or is that impossible? I would think it's probably impossible to do that, but who knows? And do they still have nuclear weapons laying around somewhere? At least one. So many different scenarios popping around in my brain with all this stuff. But anyway, that's how we begin. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that I had read, I can't corroborate nor confirm. I'm going with this is from the Kiev Independent. It just seems like it's impossible. 4,300 troops, 27 planes downed. I know they have Stinger missiles now. I know Germany actually has given them Stinger missiles. Stinger missiles from us are on the way, which Stinger missiles, if you don't know, are Obviously, they're one of the things that actually caused Russia to go home, their tail between their legs in Afghanistan. So it's it's certainly a game changer, and depending upon how many that they get. But 706 armored personnel carriers destroyed. It just from what they have, I mean, unless we just misjudged Ukraine's military from the beginning, completely. And then what happens if it gets like whether you have a rooting interest or not? What happens when it gets to that point? Let's assume that it gets to the point where Putin is completely frustrated. What happens then? Like you're embarrassed on the world stage. Your military has been less than exemplary. You're losing battles left and right.